all your school rugby, all in one place. This is NextGen 15.
Alright guys, welcome to NextGen 15, and in today's video what we're going to be discussing is recruitment as well as our new product which is called the Talent Hub. So if you are new to our channel, as always, please don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as bell notification, and as soon as new videos are released you'll be the first to know. So just in terms of a quick introduction, look, there's obviously fewer options in South Africa right now, so naturally the recruitment field is always going to devolve into some sort of a minefield where financial gains could obviously potentially outweigh player welfare. But it's all in the eye of the beholder. One man's trash is another's treasure. So this is just from my perspective, our perspective about how we view the current environment. There's a lot of people that will disagree with us, some might agree with us. But always remember, one man's trash is another's treasure. I mean, I could be talking about, I'm never going to mention any specific facilities' names, but I could be talking about someone, you could have something in mind, and, you know, some kids could have gone through them and had a great experience. So, again, just, you know, take everything I say with the right spirit that it's intended to be taken with, and, you know, understand that we definitely here to offer a service. And it's not just about trashing, you know, other people and all the rest of it, but there are obviously things to be concern oneself with. Now, to determine reputable agents, managers, or after-school options, very challenging, guys. And what we're going to be doing is delving into this somewhat controversial topic. And what we've done is we've created our own portal. And while we did it for free at first, more entrants and more demand means that we're going to have to create a paid service very similar to the PAX model we initially planned in early 2020. Now, first we're going to showcase this product, how it benefits both recruiters and athletes alike, and then make our case for being your chosen partner if you choose to work with us. So we'll follow this up with an overview of all the markets that are available to young players, and we're just going to give our honest opinion from our experience of having dealt with some of the biggest stakeholders in the game. And having been around for some time and having one of the largest followings, it's natural we're going to get contacted by many people involved in rugby. We try to keep things open and honest, but remember, again, it's all a matter of perspective, guys. So this is our perspective, and you know, whether you agree or disagree with it, that's not up to us. As I said, like, you know, we've been doing this for a long time, and I hope you take everything from you know, with the right spirit, because we always try and do things in the right spirit. So the Talent Hub is going to be a partnership between us and SkolerugbySA South Africa, a very popular group on Facebook. They're starting to make some inroads on Instagram as well. Great group of people, really looking forward to working with them. You know, we've spoken to quite a few people, you know, on social media and all the rest of it. We had one or two very unfortunate incidences with certain parties. And it was just a case of not wanting to work with anyone, and then you know we had quite a few chats with these guys, and it just felt like, you know, we shared the same values, and the most important thing for us is that they're basically a group of parents, and they do a lot of things for the love of the game, and they share the same values as we did. So definitely looking forward to them, and, you know, welcoming them in. And depending on how this goes, we got a few other projects lined up that we'd like to work with them on, hopefully, and you know, all to benefit the community at large, obviously. So what is the Talent Hub? Okay, so it's nothing new. You know, we did something called PAX Sports last year that we developed in partnership with other parties at the start of last year. It was in our first sort of foray into player recruitment, but not being attached to NextGen 15 and having partners who wished to look at sort of Asia-centric opportunities meant that there was a lack of focus, so everyone basically went their own way. Now, being attached to the NextGen 15 brand means that we really are specializing and focusing on rugby and rugby alone. There is no need for other sports and other distractions. Further, NextGen 15 has become a trusted name in terms of youth rugby. You know, we almost got 50,000 followers across the various platforms. And along with our partners at SkolerugbySA, they have over 25,000 followers. Between us, we have the reach, the credibility, and the right people in the right places. So it felt like the right time to do this. Scouts, agents, and major stakeholders in rugby use NextGen 15 already as a reference point when it comes to the youth game, and even those who don't want to admit it, we know they're watching, and you know, even if they say some negative things about us and all the rest of it, that's fine. everyone's entitled to their opinions, but we know they're watching, ultimately. So the thing is, we're the only cross-border rugby group operating now, and this service is going to be available to young players from any country, naturally, but our strongest support is obviously going to lie in the South African and English markets. So we've been approached by many different parties to work together, but we sort of felt it is better to create a common market where agents and recruiters as well as athletes can communicate on one platform, and those who offer the best service can ultimately come out on top. If you're a high-level elite player and you go to certain schools, you're going to have a certain agent. That's just how the game works at the moment. And what we're trying to do is those hidden gems out there, instead of going after the big agencies or contacting the big agencies, maybe you find a boutique agent and they're going to help you and you can help them grow as well. I think it's a win-win scenario potentially. So for athletes, they're going to be able to upload items, sort of like video highlights. They could do academic transcripts, positional, their vital stats, their contact details, and obviously for minors, the guardian details, photos, and obviously a lot more than that, which we'll go through. So instead of sending a CV and attaching it, what's nice about this is that the athlete can actually literally just send a link to their Talent Hub profile, and recruiters are going to be able to get a full picture of the athlete's overall ability. Like I said, guys, we're not new to this thing, and we've spoken to a lot of stakeholders in the industry. We know what they're looking for. We know what they're looking at. So that's why we're in a better position than our competitors to actually offer something like this, because we've been through it. You know what I mean? And that's something that's experience that money can't buy. And like I said, with almost 50,000 followers, we've got the credibility as well. So we know this is going to be an ideal meeting spot for stakeholders in the recruitment side as well as the athletes themselves. And then in terms of recruiters, obviously they're going to have access to our search function. And what's nice about that, they can filter by position, height, weight, and so much more. I mean, we'll be going through the video very shortly, guys, and you'll see just how in depth it goes. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful tool that recruiters can use. So right now we're going to do a little showcase of our Talent Hub online. And then as soon as that's done, obviously we're going to go through the various markets that young players can look at for the future. Okay, so first thing you need to do is go to our website, obviously, and that's www.nextgenxv.com, and just basically go straight directly to Talent Hub over here. And once you're on Talent Hub, there's obviously a lot more information if you want to go through all of that. But for the purposes of this video, obviously, we're just going to click on sign up right over there. And once again, depending on your role, you basically choose whether it's a scout, which means that you can go through the database and search through things. If you've got any questions, you just click over here and they'll be taken to our contact page. And in just terms of athletes, we're trying to make it very simple and easy. Obviously, this has to be the case. You just basically enter your details over here, right? So you just enter your phone, email, year of birth, all the rest of that, what markets you're interested in. So if you're interested in locally, whether it's England or South Africa, you click there. The Japanese, French market, United States. Now, United States, obviously, it's going to cost a heck of a lot of money, guys. There's been quite a few guys that have expressed interest in this that, don't come from the wealthiest of backgrounds. And it's just, the reality is that it's going to cost a lot of money anyway. So just bear that in mind, for example, and read through everything carefully. British passport and European passport. For us, this is very important to know because if you are interested in the English market, for example, and you have a British passport, we have people over there that are more than willing to help. And if you've got a European passport, obviously it's going to be a lot easier to basically get a Schengen visa. And be able to play in multiple countries as well. So in terms of the athlete sign up, it's just that. With the scout sign up, you're basically just going to enter your details. There is payment for that, which we can obviously discuss if you get in touch with us. However, we are going to be giving quite a few freebies away to well-established agents and varsities and recruiters and all the rest of it. So if you want to be on that list, get in touch as soon as possible. Trying to limit to about 20 people at this stage. And then obviously what we're going to discuss next is actually go into the Talent Hub and then basically show you how the athlete profile looks like as well as the search function. Okay, so we're just going to look at what your basic player profile is going to look like. Okay, so here's one of Deacon Pretorius. He's a flower off at Gasfontein who we did some work for. Great kid, just recently got signed by the Cheetahs. Great signing for the Cheetahs and great signing for the young player. So this will just give you an idea of what the sort of CV will look like, the online CV, so to speak. So obviously you're going to have your profile picture there. You can have a cover photo there. So this cover photo is just from Unsplash, right? So in terms of the software we've developed over here, you can basically just upload something from Unsplash if you don't have your own picture. If you got your own picture, you can upload it there, no worries. So it looks like very similar to your standard social media profile. First tab's location, so just shows the city that he's in right now, the country and his nationality. Then in terms of, if we click on athlete info over there, that's obviously going to show us more about him as an athlete, right? So you can see, yeah, well, like his age, the gender. We're obviously going to be accepting female rugby players as well. His status at the moment, so, you know, is he a club player, is he a high school, junior school, whatever it is, the name of his club, what his current contract status is. This is obviously, thank goodness, going to change because he's no longer seeking a contract, he's got a contract, and whether he's got an overseas passport, and his agency status, which is obviously going to change now as well. So we do have to update these things as they go along. But yeah, Deacon's one of those guys that have got signed pretty quickly. So very happy for him and happy that we could obviously help him through the process. Then just in terms of rugby info, for example, you obviously got his positional stuff, his height, his weight. So you can see his primary position is a flower off, additional positions, wing and fullback. Is he a goal kicker? Is he a touch kicker? All of that information's over there. Then obviously the highlight reel, which we can do as well. Of course, we've done it plenty of times before. We can do the highlight reel. If you've got your own highlight reel, no problem at all. You just send that over to us. Send us the link. Has to be a YouTube video. And we can chuck it on over there. I know some other parties prefer that you only use their YouTube videos. You know, sometimes it can be quite an expensive process, but obviously ultimately you get what you pay for. And then yeah, we can see the video footage. He has his tribute, so if you click on that, you can basically, you know, you'll get an idea of Deacon's playing style and all the rest of it. The other stuff I won't log into because some of that stuff could be personal information, but I'll give you an overview. Fitness tests, you know, obviously that is to be verified by a school or a local club or something like that. Playing history, that's obviously, you know, for example, 2018 he played under 14 at Petra Tiff or something like that, for example. Then academic transcript, this is very important for those of you that are basically looking to study after school or want to perhaps go for an academic scholarship, you know, specifically in some of the American schools. Yale University, we've been in touch with them quite a lot. They're really looking for players, but that's the first thing they're going to look at is the academic transcript, and then they'll look at the talent secondary. So that's over there. Biography, it's basically, you know, the guys can get to know you better. You write a bit about yourself and all the rest of it, a cover letter, so to speak. On that, we can attach your plain CV, we can attach references, whatever you want, and then obviously you got your photos, just photographs of yourself playing rugby, the more recent the better, of course. And then finally is the contact athlete section, and yeah, that's just going to contain the athlete's you know, phone number, email address, however you want anyone to be able to get hold of you. It'll be available there, and that just cuts out the middleman. And obviously we don't want to be really middlemen in this thing. We just basically want to be a platform, right? So that's the gist of it in terms of what the player profiles will look like. So the next thing we're going to do is look at it from a scout's perspective or a recruiter's perspective, and going to show you how powerful our search system actually is. Okay, so now we get to the part where a lot of agencies and recruiters and all of that sort of been waiting for. And we've built a lot of this based on the feedback we've received from these sort of parties over the last, you know, year and a half, 2 years, really. And, you know, I think we've created something over here that's going to be beneficial to all parties concerned. And it's a very, very powerful search function to be able to find sort of an ideal profile of what you're looking for, whether you be a recruiter at a club or whether you be an agent or whether you be a recruiter at a university. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. We just want to create a platform where we don't have to deal with major agencies anymore, and recruiters, and frankly, a lot of the time, getting non-stop messages from the kids as well. We don't mind helping the kids. That's something we feel very passionate about. But the problem is that we can't help everyone, right? So we end up getting inundated with messages about opportunities after school or wanting to transfer school. I mean, it's a tough one, guys. We just don't have the resources and the manpower right now to help everyone. So the way we looked at this is that we can help ourselves by helping the youngsters and by helping the recruiters, and creating one sort of ecosystem where everyone can sort of connect. So instead of having a 15-20 minute conversation with a scout or an agent, we can just basically say to them, look, sign up for the Talent Hub and search and go mad. And if you can find someone that suits you, and you guys can help each other out, the athlete can perform well for you, and you can obviously get ahead of your job, so to speak. We're happy for that, and this is mainly born out of that, the fact that we don't have the time to really help everybody out. Anyway, instead of me blabbering on, let's just get into it. So once you've signed up as a scout, and again, guys, if you're a recruiter at a university or anything like that, get in touch. We want to give about 20-25 free accounts away. Happy to do that. Once you've signed up and once you're part of it, very simply, we'll just go through everything. Browsing talent is obviously like the search function, which we've done. That's very powerful. View jobs is more for the athletes, if there are any job opportunities available. As a recruiter, you'll be able to post a job, and then obviously there's a job dashboard for athletes where they can take a look at sort of jobs they've applied for and what the situation is with all of that. But obviously for this, let's just go through the browse talent section over here. As we said, we've based this on a lot of feedback from a lot of different parties, and we've tried to make it as user friendly as possible. And I think we've definitely potentially got something quite special here. So immediately you can see you've got a map. You can actually zoom into a specific area of the map, and it will automatically show you any players that are registered there. So if you just go towards Europe, for example, we got guys in the UK. You see immediately right over there off the bat, see it immediately that you got 9, and then it'll show us different areas, and then you got the different players over there. So you can actually just zoom into the map and take a look at players if you want. But if you're impressed by that, that's nothing. Let's just say it that way. The filter system is where it's at, guys. This is if I was a recruiter, this is like my dream, right? It's like basically you can filter by height, weight, whether the person's got video footage available or not. Do they have an overseas passport, like a UK passport? What's their nationality if you want? Primary foot, are they a goal kicker, are they a touch kicker, are the academic transcripts available? So like the guy that I spoke to from Yale, for example, he'll just obviously want to click right now it's like no one's put an academic transcript up just yet, but in the future, just click that and click yes, and then only the guys that have academic transcripts will show up, which will obviously be quite beneficial. But let's say you want to look for someone that's between 185 and 195 centimeters and weighs at least 97 kilograms. You just basically click over there, and then these profiles show up, for example, and then you can basically click in the profile, and as I showed you before, it'll look the same as Deacons, where you can take a look at all the players' details. So very short, sweet, simple, but definitely something you feel that has a lot of potential. Let me just zoom out here a bit more. I think that actually might show up all players globally, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's what it does. So you can see there's quite a few guys over here that you could basically get in touch with. Obviously this is blurred out right now, for security reasons and all the rest of it. But these are all the players that you could basically see, and then click on their profile, get in touch with them, have a chat, and if you want to start again, you just say clear all, and you could actually basically let's say you're a recruiter in England, overseas passport, yes, UK passport, and that'll show you all the guys in South Africa that have British passports, which is quite cool. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. Let me know what you think. And as I said, more than happy to give away a couple of free accounts to to a couple of guys and, let you try it out. And if you like it, put money in our pocket. If you don't. Easy does it. That's the beauty of capitalism. We don't have to force you to do anything you don't want to. Okay, so just in terms of, the markets that some young athletes might be looking at, we'll just discuss that. And again, guys, this is completely opinion-based. From my perspective, and I'm not saying my perspective is 100% right, it's just what I see and how I feel about things. So let's just go through it. So we'll start off with elite athletes. And look, if you're an elite level athlete, I don't think you need to worry much. And I would really suggest just looking at maybe staying in South Africa, depending on certain factors, obviously. The pathways and scouting in terms of top level talent, it's still good. And if you're playing in one of the major schools, you're going to be noticed. There's no doubt about it. What South Africa has done in terms of streaming and community involvement, it makes it a juggernaut in terms of schools, rugby and recruitment. English schools are catching up as well, but the youth game is just growing throughout the world, which is a very exciting time, especially for us and what we're doing. The problem in South Africa is that the space in teams is extremely competitive. I mean, there are only 4 to 5 unions capable of doing any high-level recruitment. Now, there's a huge talent pool with small available contracts, meaning sometimes there is a need to look elsewhere. Now, never underestimate the challenge of going overseas. Even if you're an elite level athlete, but if you believe that you can compete and stay in South Africa, there's no harm in staying. But even if you're an elite level athlete, it's not going to be easy going overseas. So let's go through the varsity market. Varsity recruitment has come a long way. Some of the top coaches in the country and recruiters are actually to be found in the South African tertiary fields. There's excellent access to excellent facilities, coaching and getting an education. So it's basically a win all round. Now, the Varsity Cup was a challenge before for the players to get exposure, but I do believe it's going to change and there will be more opportunity given to youth in the near future. Now, having a great Varsity Cup is certainly a step in the right direction. I mean, there's a lot of Springboks that have come through the Varsity Cup and actually made their bones in the tournament. Now, there are plenty more opportunities for young players. There's a larger amount of varsities than unions are handing out contracts. So basically, you take a look at the recruitment this year, like let's say, for example, Western Province, I think below 10 youth contracts have been handed out as far as I know. Whereas like the University of Free State's probably signed 15 to 20 young players already. So it just shows you the disparity between the two. I mean, there's a lot more opportunities obviously at varsities. But always take a look at the recruitment of the varsity, see where the competition in your position is and go where you feel you might be a starter the quickest. If you're looking to have some fun and play your rugby and you want to be around mates and have a varsity life, you want to go to one of the bigger varsities, that's fine. But if you want to take your rugby career seriously, you might need to go to a smaller varsity and get noticed. And maybe have an opportunity to transfer to a larger varsity after that. But look carefully at your competition. That's what I always say to the guys that ask me questions and ask for advice. Look at your competition, look at your pathway, which is the quickest way to the top, and you go for that. Now, in England, we're getting contacted far more by universities than in the past, but scholarships are still quite hard to come by. But we do believe that this is going to change over time. So in terms of our English followers, no harm in signing up and checking it out. There's still some great opportunities out there. So just in terms of the UK market, now we've had a lot of requests from young South Africans about this market, guys. And in short, unless you have ancestry or passport, just forget about it. While we think of South African youth rugby as having no equal, one must remember that there's still plenty of quality coming through the ranks of English junior rugby. It's very competitive there as well. And this means that there's no need to really look outside to bolster the ranks. I mean, they've got some high quality players there already. Now, on the reverse side, English players will find playing anything better than friendly club rugby in South Africa a challenge. What I'm saying is that, in other words, it works both ways, essentially. If you have a British passport and ancestry, then sign up as soon as possible. Even in ancestry, we can find people to sort of assist in terms of obtaining your passport, especially if they believe in your level of talent. They'll do the work for you. So don't be shy in getting in touch. Now, players that have gone through the school system in South Africa that have British ancestry and a chance to get a British passport are a hot commodity. So I'll definitely take a look at that if I was you. Taking a look at Spain, Russia, Poland and Portugal. Now there's a surprising amount of demand in these markets for players. In Spain in particular, there are study and play opportunities for the right players. Very much developing market still. And English players that are looking for a new experience, certainly there's no harm in having a look. For South African players, maybe there's an opportunity for an additional passport. The green number is not getting any easier as time goes by. However, for those who are serious about developing their rugby careers, there certainly are other markets that are far better to look at. Now, Spain and Portugal, they got very good culture, the weather's great, and the people are very friendly. I think the transition for South Africans in particular wouldn't be too difficult there. I think a lot of the English spend a lot of time in these two countries anyway, so they'll be quite familiar with them. Poland, very friendly people. The country's on the rise economically, but it's still Eastern Europe, guys, which means there is going to take some more time to settle into the culture. And in terms of Russia, I know a hell of a lot of Russians. I spend a lot of time with Russians. It takes a long time to get past that shield they have in front of them. But once they let you in, you become very close to them, but you have to work very hard to take that shield down. There'll be a huge culture shock to go there, and definitely the weather definitely wasn't made for anyone from Africa. So let's move on to the USA college and pro market. This is one of the scammiest areas of the games right now, guys. There's a lot of snakes operating, but of course there's obviously good guys as well. When you sometimes have kids being quoted $10,000 by an agency, it seriously makes you wonder. South Africa has a weak exchange rate and desperate parents, and this is just a recipe for disaster sometimes. Now, we are going to be working with a highly credible partner in this regard. So if you are interested about this market, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with our contact over there. Have a chat and, get comfortable and do your own research. You have to do as much research as you possibly can. Now, remember, you're likely going to be studying in the sticks. If you go to one of these US rugby colleges, dreams of California beaches are likely a pipe dream. Keep an eye out, however, for the pro market where recruitment looks like it's kicking up a gear. So there might be a pathway there instead of the college market. Now, I don't want to open us up to litigation, so I'm not going to mention names, but there are some well-known groups doing plenty of advertising that you should watch very, very carefully. Very, very scammy individuals. But alternatively, chat to other athletes that have gone through the agencies in question and then make an informed decision with your families. There are good guys. I want to mention their names, but if I mention the names of the good guys, I've got to mention the name of the scammers as well. You know what I mean? But the easiest way to do it is chat to someone that's actually gone through them, but don't chat to them like after 1 or 2 months of them studying. That's still the honeymoon phase. You try and get hold of someone that's been there for a year and a half, 2 years, and then you find out their opinion and you'll get the whole truth. You know what I mean? Now, for English youngsters who dream of going to the USA and you've got a decent background in rugby, I'd say go for it. The long-term rewards can certainly be worth your while, and in terms of an exchange rate, I think it's not going to hurt the English as much as it would hurt South Africans, for example. Rugby academies, and this is certainly another area for concern. Any time there are desperate parents and children, there's going to be predators around, guys. Now, some of the pricing is absolutely jaw-dropping at some of these academies. Some run into the hundreds of thousands of rands. This is another area in which you have to do your own research. It's vital, obviously. But again, there are good people in the space, and then there are bottom feeders. Take a look at who's obtaining contracts for their players, who are fulfilling promises. This is pretty easy stuff to find out, guys. Just follow their social media profiles and just do your research. I cannot say that enough. Do your research. There have been well-documented cases, where some of the kids are living in squalor and overseas contracts that are promised were not forthcoming. This is commonplace in that. And just remember, just because it's attached to a specific union does not mean you should not do your own research. You've got to question absolutely everything. And especially if it's, money coming out of your hard-working parents' pocket, do your research, ask the questions, don't be shy. Anyone that gets defensive about this type of thing, they are generally the scamming scumbags. That's my experience in it. So if anyone is watching this and taking offense to it, you're a scammy scumbag. That's the only way to put it. Someone that knows they're offering a good service and offering value does not see themselves as a scammer and would not get offended by something like this. Now, personally, I think if anything is quoted as a few 100,000 rand, then just think twice. I mean, you might be better off spending some of that money and playing rugby overseas, taking a gap year. I mean, don't always be sold on a dream, always question everything all the time. Moving on to Japan. Now, it's incredibly strange to me that some kids get freaked out about going over to Asia, specifically Japan. Very strange. I mean, Japan is one of the safest countries on the planet. The food is excellent, and don't even get me started on Japanese women. I mean, this is a reality. Young men, first year out of school, varsity, you're going to want to experience everything that's out there. And I mean, that's a great thing about like going to Asia. It's a completely different culture. And once you've come here, you see that it's an absolutely amazing place to live. And I mean, it's all the ingredients are there for an ideal start to your rugby career. Varsity rugby is huge in Japan. Now, not many people know about it, but more and more young kids, especially from New Zealand now, starting to head that way. There's a huge demand for South African players as well as English players, and it completely baffles my mind. I mean, if you gave me this opportunity as a youngster, I would have absolutely been all over it. I don't think young rugby players today appreciate how great it is that they have all of these options available to them. I mean, personally, we are continually contacted by Japanese teams all the time looking for players. So get in touch with us and let's see where it can land. I mean, we've got some very, very good contacts that deal with this type of stuff. So there could be some amazing opportunities for you over there. And if you think South African steak is awesome, wait until you try Japanese, guys. It's a game changer. I mean, dead serious, it's a game changer. So don't wait. Then the last, French, the French market, the France market. This is definitely going to make me very popular with the powers that be in local rugby. But anyway, it is the granddaddy of all markets, and it's not even close. The top 14 is to rugby what the Premier League is to soccer, guys. And anyone that denies that is living in La La Land. Now, while South Africa only has a few openings in terms of pro teams, there are literally dozens of French teams who can afford to contract young South African talents, and they're doing so in their droves. The drift system in France means that players who spend 3 years in a French academy will not have a foreign quota attached upon them, and they're free to play for French teams unburdened. That's a huge plus, guys. And this is a game changer for young athletes, and players from Fiji and South Africa specifically are in very high demand. The French top 14 is a money-making machine and is far and away the most valuable rugby tournament in the world, with revenues in the hundreds of millions of euros. It's massive, guys. And however, it takes a very special kind of athlete to prosper there. The mindset needs to be right, and there needs to be a willingness to adapt and learn the language. These things are vital. Many youth superstars who started their rugby journey in France, and a lot of them have returned home already. It's not easy, but for those who stick it out, the opportunities are truly life-changing. You just need to take a look at Bernard Leroux, who was not appreciated at all in South Africa. Scott Spedding, they went over there and made France their home and are earning fantastic livings and living lives that they could never possibly have lived in South Africa. It's truly potentially a game-changing market and a very exciting market. And there are power players in this market, and most of them are regular users of our site. So this is another area in which we are very, very confident we can obviously help you guys. So in terms of the ideal profiles, before we close off over here, if you're a lock over 2 meters in height, you're going to basically get signed in a heartbeat. It doesn't matter if you're in second or third team. I think there's still a very good chance that you're going to get signed. South Africans with a British passport will find that doors open for them very quickly in the UK. Japan seems to be a fondness for ball-carrying eighth men and centres, big loose forwards in general. France, ex-player factors are in demand. So, I mean, if you're someone that's got a heavy boot, you're freakishly strong, the French are willing to take a gamble on you, as they really do believe that they have the ability to nurture your skills. So they believe that the weaknesses they can coach out of you, but the sort of physical attributes, you either have them or you don't. So that's why they're definitely willing to take a gamble on you. So if you're someone that just feels that you got that special quality, you got something about you, go for it. You got nothing to lose. And big boys as well. Like, I'm talking massive kids here. We're even starting to get requests from American football colleges to assist them in finding players that fit certain profile types. I think they see the value in these young rugby players. I mean, we just did something for a kid from New Zealand that's probably going to be going over that side, and you know, who knows how far he's going to go in his American football career. But at the same time, you know, if he goes far, the NFL or you know, the powers that be in American football understand that there's a potential new audience there for them if they can you know, bring a couple of these players through. So they're very interesting times ahead, guys. And I mean, you know, we've been doing this for some time, as I said. So we getting more and more opportunities out there, you know, to sort of present to the young kids and all the rest of it, which is very exciting for us, and you know, potentially for the youngsters as well. Anyway, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch this video, guys. Look, this is something that we've been asked for years and years, you know, since the start, and it's something that we find quite fascinating, and we do believe we've built a system right now that can help the young players. And you know, it's just get in touch and let's see where we land on it. And again, if you're a recruiter, agent or whatever, get in touch. If you can sort of you know, we can sort of look at something along the lines of 3 months free trial or something like that, maybe a bit longer if you're a decent guy, you know, from a smaller agency that we maybe want to help out or something like that, or from a smaller club. More than happy to discuss things, guys. And if you've got any questions, you drop us an email, leave a comment down below, and as always, have a fantastic week further. Cheers. Bye.